junior speed, the stretch. And the 0-1 pitch on the way to Edgar Martinez. Swung on the line, down the left field line for a base hit. Here comes Joy. Here is Junior to third base. They're going to wait him in. The throw to the plate will be late. The Mariners are going to play for the American League Championship. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh my. Edgar Martinez with a double. Whipped down the left field line, and they are going crazy at the Kingdome.
Let me ask you this, because I didn't notice it offhand. Is Rowley one of these fucking con men pitch framers?
He's pretty good at it.
Yeah, he's not a con man. That's what you call a platinum glove catcher.
Me and my dad watching, it makes us fucking sick to our stomach. How many pitches these guys are catching. My dad said if he was the umpire, he would say, if you do that shit, I'm calling it an automatic ball.
Strike three called again off the plate.
No, I think it's good, but I think you're a shitty umpire, and if a guy brings the glove way across and that's affecting you, you shouldn't be an umpire. You see the ball that crosses the plate, not where he catches it and moves it, so... Because the catchers have been framing since, forever. Carlton Fisk, all these old-timers, Johnny Bench.
They used to try to get an extra inch or two. Now guys are doing it on every pitch, like a ball in the dirt, and they still have the fucking nerve to. And for me, as a watcher, it makes me sick. I heard a really old timer call up one of the radio shows and be like, "The framing, it's immoral, and it's not, and it's dishonest, and it doesn't belong in the game."
I think it was you using that voice.
If you watch the game, you might have caught this. Gino is rounding the bases, does all his stuff that he does, a massive hit, rounding third, coming home, and who is on deck? Jorge Polanco. You're expecting to get a dap. You got some from Cal, and coming out of the dugout, you see Josh Naylor. Did he get Eugenio in a gap? Absolutely not. He was up early just before him. He goes to the on-deck batter, Jorge Polanco, and talks to him about what he's seeing from that pitcher. It got me so jacked up, even though it was a big-time home run from Eugenio. Just to see that I don't care that you just hit that home run. To see that you went to the on-deck batter to talk strategy about what you're seeing. You're a fellow left-handed hitter.
Yeah.
Blanco was just totally involved what Naylor was saying. It's something I noticed, and it absolutely got me pumped.
I just try to play baseball. I just like to wake up, come to the field, work hard, win a game, go home, repeat.
What up? This is Myron, and you are listening or checking out the Rye Bread and Mustard and Mariners podcast at Down on the Docks on the other side of the tracks, 5-star dive bar, about your Seattle Mariners that are hot as fuck right now. 9 games in a row. We haven't seen a run like this since 2022. What happened in 2022? They made the playoffs. So seeing some similarities. These are the kind of runs also that the 1995 refused to lose Mariners did as well, CJ. So in 2001, they had some runs. We're starting to see a couple of runs. We saw another run earlier like this, but how the Mariners team with all this talent can turn things around. I mean, we went from this, CJ. We went from, I don't know, a couple episodes where we had this as the cover, the perfect storm, when we had all the Mariners put on the movie poster of the perfect storm on that road trip to, you look at the thumbnail now, World Series odds. So things have changed.
Yeah, it's been insane riding the last, I'd say, 2 weeks, right? I mean, we went from like, whew, this is a shoe in to just a horrible road trip. And then now we're just winning uncontrollably, hitting the ball, just like so much offense, winning. It's like a great feeling right now. Got Houston and Texas playing, got a day off, so we can watch that. And then we start our the final stretch here. Just super exciting.
Yeah, and in this streak, they've won every which way I can think of. You've gotten some luck. You've pounded the crap out of teams. You've went back to back extra inning games of 13 and 12 innings. I was at one of them, and then you go back the next day. I mean, I was like, I'm not going back the next day. I'm tired from being there at 13 innings. And I mean, these guys got to go back and actually play the game, I was too tired to be like, all right, try to get back down to the stadium too much. So I can just imagine they go in on Friday and they have that 2-1 win on Apple TV. Then Saturday, you just see more of a traditional win where you just kind of just play keep away. And then Sunday, another just bludgeoning of the Anaheim Angels. And it makes you feel good. And a little cherry on top, Anaheim eliminated. There's nothing like just beheading somebody, right?
Yeah, so like I was like, I live down here in Arizona, and so right around the end of each of those like low scoring games, I was like, I couldn't take it anymore. We're going to extra innings. So then I would take, our dog Xena for a walk. And I would just like not have my phone. I'd come back and then it'd be a positive. So I started doing that. So I'm gonna start doing that going forward. So if we're like in a 1-1 game or 2-1 game and it's like the 7th inning, I'm gonna go for a walk and come back. So far that's been working for us. That and the Etsy thing.
Yeah, everybody's been doing their things. I think Rick Riz, it's the Cheetos. I believe that's what his thing that he's doing is. I think Jerry DiPoto brings him Cheetos before the game. We obviously have heard about it. Let's just talk about it, get it out of the way. This Etsy witch. So what is this backstory on this? I'm going to pull this up. So wait, just a real brief, and correct me if I'm wrong. This guy, when we were at after the Atlanta loss, after they had been swept by Tampa Bay and they lost,
just completely devastated. We were just on this like completely sinking ship. Like the season's over. It's not coming back. Apparently, some guy went on Etsy.
So he went on to Etsy
and found some sort of witchcraft, I guess you can pay for, and asked this witchcraft Etsy shop to put a spell on the Mariners to start winning. And ever since that has taken place, I think it was like $15 or $5. I don't know. I'm sure in this article it will say. But ever since that's
$15.99.
Yeah, to get their act together and start winning baseball games again, and we haven't lost since.
And apparently, this guy's been on Como News, the local television, I think the ABC affiliate in Seattle. And let's see, it says, "quote The idea to lift the curse actually partially came from my best friend," Blackburn told Como News. "She and I have made jokes that in the past about using our magic or witchcraft or something to fix various things in our lives. And she suggested a few months ago, hey, why don't you hire a witch to fix the Mariners?" Yes, and like you said, he went to an Etsy shop and paid $15.99 for a spell to get their act together and start winning baseball games again. And then the rest is history. They just went on this huge run. And then I don't get it. Is the mustache part of the whole thing? I am trying to figure out what that part is. Like I'm out of the know what that.
I'm not sure if there's a connection, but I don't know. I would say it's like the playoff beards that you see in hockey. So I think there's something that happened, and I think it might have been. We should probably do some research on this, but I think Cal started growing his mustache, then everyone followed his lead, and so you're seeing a majority of the team who can grow a mustache, growing mustache because they're following Cal's league. It's like the playoff mustache, what I'd call it, similar to like seeing hockey.
Interesting.
That's my.
Um,
I'll have to confirm that, but that's just my my theory on the mustache.
Okay, so it's not related. It's just kind of going hand in hand with it. Yeah, I have
think
noticed the mustache. I've seen a couple of the coaches. Actually, comment here, CJ. Can you turn your volume up slightly?
My volume?
Yeah, if you can. So I have noticed that like Negron's, I think, has a mustache now. He usually has that like kind of, faded kind of beard going on. Same thing with Woodward. I've noticed because we see Woody walk out to the mound at least once a game. Who needs to bring the mustache back though? Is Edgar. I mean, he used to always have rocking the mustache.
Yeah. Is this better from a sound standpoint?
Yeah, the sounds better now. Edgar, though, I mean, I think it's pretty much after retirement he got rid of that mustache.
I think so. I mean, I think it's mighty, but I think he retired, and then I think he retired it. Needs to bring it back.
Yeah, because he definitely had like the Magnum PI kind of mustache. So I have noticed the mustaches, but but let's just go into this last series really quick and then we'll move on. But going into this series, you had that 12-inning game. You start off the series with another 13 inning game, and then you were able to still pull out a sweep. And like we said, we've seen it in so many different ways as far as players that have really been carrying this team offensively. I mean, everybody's been pitching in, but especially Josh Naylor, Polanco, and probably Julio's is from your big pillar guys were pretty active this last series. And that's great when, Randy Rosarena's getting on and getting in, but you haven't seen a big offensive explosion from him. And Eugenio had a rough homestand at the plate, but you still had 2 or 3 of your big guys going. And you also had contributions from Louis Rivas at the end of that last Cardinal series. And then you have Harry Ford getting that big RBI. And again, the bullpen's been great. And the starting pitching's what we're used to. Everything seems to be clicking, and you do get to see how scary this team is when it's all clicking.
Yeah, I mean, I was getting concerned about Castillo, right? And it's good to see him have a good outing because he's been struggling his last few starts, but it was good to see him come out strong again too. But yeah, the bullpen was struggling. Now that's kind of changed and shifted, and so it feels like we're firing in all. I don't know for me, and I don't know how it feels for you, but we always had a hard time hitting at home. And we'd hit better on the road, but that seemed like that's flipped in the last 2 weeks. I guess this season. But now it feels like we're just like killing it at home. We have offense at home where we wouldn't see that much offense. And I think it feels like we're in a great space right now to close out the regular season at least.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You feel so good about them being at home. And I think the last week we talked a little bit, but we had Tom Hutler on, so we didn't talk too much Mariners talk. I think maybe when we were at Tacos and Tequila, we did. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But as far as the Mariners taking care of business at home, you feel really confident about that. You feel confident about them playing in a series in the playoffs at home. You just don't want to see them slip and have a bad road trip here because you wouldn't have much confidence in them considering how they've played here in the second half on the road. So, this is a huge get right, identifying what type of team you are right here on this road trip. I mean, this is huge. And on top of that, you have Houston, who you are tied with the season series with. You're currently up a game starting the week. So you're going to probably go into Houston with a lead or be right about a tie, no worse than a game back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like Houston and Texas are battling up for the next 3 games, I think, and so it'll be interesting to see how that turns out as the week goes on.
Yeah, and I keep seeing questions like, who do we want in this series? And you're like, well, you clearly want the Rangers. There's 3 games behind you. Yes, you want the person closest to you to stay back, the team that you were tied with and now have taken the lead. Of course, you'd want them to continue to lose. And on top of that, I'm focused as a fan at what is going on with the Detroit Tigers. I'm also going to be keeping my eyes on the Yankees, the Red Sox, because there is a good chance that the Mariners could catch the Detroit Tigers. And what that would do would put you into a situation where, let's talk about this scenario, where you don't have to play in the first round. Because at this point, I think you want to root on Toronto. You want Toronto to win the American League East just because they're so far ahead of them in a schedule. They're so far ahead of them as far as the standings. It seems a little bit out of reach. And then you kind of don't have to worry about the Yankees or the Red Sox because they wouldn't be available for that bye because they're a wild card just by where unfortunately they're in that division, or fortunately for the Mariners, they're in that division. So you're going into this next 2 weeks of going, not only do you want to keep Houston off you and hopefully Texas Rangers fizzle out, or maybe you want the Rangers to come in over the Houston Astros. That's another scenario. But as far as the Mariners catching Detroit in 2 weeks, catching up 3 games on top of that, you have the tiebreaker. And you look at Detroit just right now, they're playing 5-5. If we pull up the standings, they're 5-5 in their last 10. Who are they playing? Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland Guardians. After the Mariners, the Cleveland Guardians are the hottest team. They're 9-1 in their last 10.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of scenarios out there that it's there's some teams that have already clinched, right? And so us, I think we're like all the heart medication you can take, anxiety medication for the Mariners. It's like 2 weeks.
So, so the Detroit Tigers are playing Cleveland to start off the week, and the Yankees are taking on the Minnesota Twins. So you're probably not going to get too much help there, you wouldn't think. And the Red Sox are taking on the A's. You look over at Toronto, they're a couple of games ahead of Detroit, so that is going to be a tougher catch. But as far as Detroit, and we'll just pull up Detroit Tigers schedule for the rest of the season. This week it's the Guardians and it's the Braves. So if you are a believer in this scenario, you really want the Guardians to win and you really want the Braves to win. And then they get the Guardians again and they finish up with the Red Sox. So that is a tough schedule to finish the. Yeah. I'm going to put it up on the screen just because when you look at it, you go, "Oh man!" And then you look at the Mariners, and it's like, yes, the Royals. They just need to put the Royals out of their misery. You have the Houston Astros. We know that. Then you have maybe the scariest series to me, the Colorado Rockies at home, and then the Dodgers. I would say Detroit's schedule is far more difficult on paper.
Yeah, totally. But it's one of those things too where you see the Rockies and they all of a sudden start, they want to knock us out. They might somehow magically playing strong. Dodgers, ending with Dodgers is crazy, but hopefully they're in a position where they're just resting. But I doubt that. Yeah, I mean,
as far as Detroit, these three. The 3 Guardians games and the Braves games are played at home in Detroit. And so Detroit's on the road for the last week. And just out of curiosity, I wonder what Detroit Tigers home and away record is. So they're pretty dominant at home. but they still are a 500 team on the road. So, but look at the Cleveland Guardians. Sure, they're 6.5 back. That they would, but I mean, they're probably looking at a scenario if they run the table on Detroit, maybe they can take that division. But as far as the wild card, Cleveland's still got a lot to play for. 2.5 back to start the week. Texas 2 games back. Like I said, Kansas City Royals sitting there at 500. We're going in to play a 500 team. They're 6 back in the wild card. It's just time to put them down.
Yep. And we're at that 54%. If you look at our winning percentage.
Yeah, playing slightly over 54%. So I know it is. I know it is very ironic that he's correct. Real quick, let's go to. I'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back in here.
Get ready to play hardball in the Kingdom.
Take me to the ball game. I want to see the Ants. The Mariners are playing hardball. Did it again and again and again. Did it again.
Princess Tours, the vacation company, brings you the best show in baseball when the San Diego Chicken plays hardball with the Seattle Mariners and the Baltimore Orioles tonight in the Kingdom.
Supercross this weekend in the Kingdom. The Coors Beer Supercross doubleheader. Get ready, Seattle, this Saturday night at 7:30 and Sunday afternoon at 2. The 1988 AMA Supercross Tour, Motorcycle Mania, on an incredible dirt battleground that treats man and machine the same way. With absolutely no respect. See the best. National champion Jeff Ward, former champion Ricky Johnson. Tickets at all Ticketmaster locations, including the Bond, Tower Records and Video, and participating Honda dealers. The Coors Beer Supercross.
All right, we're back, and as the thing says here for our 9-inning lunch style afternoon lunch meeting edition we're doing here for this episode, we're talking about some World Series odds. I first saw this in an article put out in Seattle Times. Now there's just clips everywhere all over social media. But it is basically laying out the odds and the scenarios for the playoffs. It's a piece that I believe Adam Jude put out. I'll pull it up on the screen if you're checking this out on YouTube. But he also is referencing the odds that the Mariners' odds are starting to increase when it comes to the World Series. And look, give me 1 second, CJ, and I'll have this up on the screen for you. But did you see these odds yet?
I haven't, no.
So as far as Fangraphs, for their odds, let's just pull up their odds. The Mariners, to all the odds right here. Odds to win the division right now in the Fangraphs model, 67.6, Astros 29.8, Rangers 2.6, odds to make the playoffs 96.4. That just gives me too much anxiety. How about you, CJ?
Yeah. I'd see. You hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's a big number. I like it. Seems too good to be true, but I'll take it.
As a Seattle sports fan, there's still a 3.6 chance they might not, and
yeah.
I'm
Rangers
not
at 30%
overlooking.
Seems low.
Yeah,
With the way they've been
it
playing,
does seem low. I'm assuming if the Mariners beat up on the Astros and the Rangers can win the series there, that's going to change. Odds to clinch a first round bye. Now, I laid out just a scenario there right before we went on that break of I think the Mariners could possibly do this. I think they could make up the 3 games and catch the Tigers just on the fact that the Mariners' schedule seems a bit lighter, a lot lighter, even though, yes, you do have the Dodgers and you do have the Astros on there. but we went through who Detroit is playing. They play Cleveland twice, the Red Sox and the Braves. And I think it's obtainable, but according to Fangraphs, they're saying that is less than a 20% chance, a 19.8. And as far as odds to win the World Series, 10.8 for the Mariners. So they have a 10% chance. They're not showing on this one who I'm assuming the Dodgers, the Phillies, and teams like that have a maybe more than a 10% chance, but they're giving the Mariners just under 11, which is more than if you look last week. So there is an improvement. So the thumbnail might be misleading for this episode, but listen, the odds of what they're doing is going up. And with them pitching the way they are pitching now and getting enough offense, and on some days too much offense, you're looking at a different team.
Yeah, team that's getting hot at the right time. I think, I was saying yesterday, I was talking to some friends about Gino, right? Like all the hitting that's happening, he just didn't get on there, but hopefully that will, maybe this road trip, and that will switch for him so he starts hitting, enjoying kind of the hit parade. But yeah, I think we're firing on all cylinders at the right time, at the right part of the season to close it out.
Yeah, for Gino, I'm trying to remember when his last hit was. It was pretty rough. I even think he might have struck out from a position player yesterday.
Oh boy.
If I don't know who pitched, but I thought maybe they had a position player in there at the end of the game. But you go back a week or so, and you're back in Atlanta. I mean, the guy had a great series in Atlanta. The guy had a great series against them all year. I think he hit 8 home runs or 9 home runs off of them. 8 home runs. He hit 4 and at 5. No, 9 home runs. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, you definitely waiting for him to get hot. It really hasn't bothered you too much or bothered the team so much because they have been getting production from there in the middle of the order. But you have seen him slip down to 6, and I think he was at a 0 for 26 or 0 for 27 slump. But any other player, you might be like going, hey, you got to sit him down. But with Gino, he can go 0 for 27, and then he might go 13 for 20 with 4 home runs.
Yeah, he's super streaky, right? So hopefully we day off and then start a good streak, starting tomorrow.
Yeah. And as far as the pitching, we've seen quite a turnaround after what we saw in that last road trip. We've seen every one of the guys come out there and have an improvement of an outing. George Kirby obviously got it together, matches another career high in strikeouts. Yet you mentioned Castillo, Woo just being steady Woo. Even Bryce Miller had a better outing, and the bullpen has been, even though very overused, has been taking care of business. And I think the game that they won 11-2 here in Game 4, how huge is that? You get your key guys to get a couple of days off before this stretch run.
Totally. Yep. And what Woo and Kirby combined for 27 strikeouts, which is massive amount of strikeouts last 2 games.
Yeah, I think the only hiccup you saw as far as the relief pitchers as well, I think on Friday night, if I can remember correctly, Vargas gave up 1 run when it was a 1-1 game. Mitch Garver comes out. Mitch Garver. Yes, that's right. Mitch Garver comes out, hits that home run, called a great game as well. And this is that time of the year, the Bucky fucking Dents come out of the woodwork. The Garver game, the Louis Rivas game, the Harry Ford RBI, and credit to the pitching staff, the relief pitching staff. You were seeing names of who the hell is this? Who's this fucking guy? Coming in the game and having to stick with them for a while. I mean, Jackson pitched, I don't know how much last week. Bizzardo, obviously he's part of probably the A and, top of the B squad when you're trying to close down a game. So I shouldn't include him, but you're definitely seeing the
Hancock's out there too, right?
Yep.
He's kind of changed his approach for the season. You know, asked to step up to be a relief pitcher where he's a starter and comes in at a good opportunity and pitching decently at least.
Yeah, and I think what was good about last week was the bullpen had to save and win games for you. Tight games. I mean, there were the blowouts, but the bullpen, this is the best stretch considering what type of games you're playing right now. This is easily the best stretch we've seen with this bullpen all year, just as feeling okay and confident when they come into the game, just as a fan watching the game.
Yep. Brass has been lights out. I think Munoz has been better, right? I think Munoz was slipping a little bit, and so you lose a little bit of confidence, but I think he's kind of come around. Seems like he's going to give up maybe a walk or a hit here and keep it interesting, but then he ends up, getting those outs. I think that's what we've seen the last few games. But I don't know. Seeing Brass come out.
I'll throw another name at you that we've seen some improvement. I mean, Ferguson. Been looking Fergalicious out there the last couple of times, and he's one of these guys that was definitely getting on people's shit list.
Yep. Who is this guy? Why is this guy even up? Why do we even have him? But he's definitely come around too.
Yeah, Inspire. I mean, we go down the list. It seems like this is pretty much what your bullpen is going to be. I kept on hearing, and I keep hearing, and I can't find anything. We keep hearing about, what's his name? God, I always forget his name because he Santos. He's out of sight, out of mind. I mean, I would figure at this point, I don't know. It's getting a little bit close to be bringing in somebody new, but I haven't heard any news. I don't know if you could see anything on Santos, but I mean, that would be huge. But also, is there enough games to get in a rhythm? But then again, it's not a starting pitcher, it's a relief pitcher. And sometimes they can adapt pretty quickly. And if you're pitching a lot in the minors and being effective, I mean, you're going to need, there's still 1 to 2 guys that you're constantly going to be rotating throughout the bullpen for the next 2 weeks. So, but again, that guy's got electric stuff. He was supposed to be a Brash. He was supposed to be like a Munoz when he was first brought over here, and he's played a handful of games, and the rest of the story. It's injury. But he also was an injured player when the Mariners got him, so it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any update. There's one of 6 days ago, but nothing current about his status.
Right. And you look at Kansas City right now as well, going into this series, they're 4-6 in their last 10. They did win a game, but Kansas City is a team that is a -12 on the run differential. Playing at home, they do have a 500 record. They play better at home, 40-35. Their road record's 35-40. You see what the matchups are in this series. It lines you up for the Houston series. It looks like you're going to be going with the 3 guys that it seems like most Mariners fans are like, these are my 3. And I'm talking about Brian Wu, George Kirby, and Gilbert. That's going to be your weekend series against the Astros. So in this series, you're going to have Logan, you're going to have Bryce, you're going to have Castillo. What do you think about these 3 being would these be your 3 right now? Brian Wu, George Kirby, and Logan Gilbert?
Of the 5, yeah, I think that's I mean, definitely Wu, definitely Kirby, and Gilbert. Yeah, I mean, Castillo, I think, we saw his last start. He did pretty well, but he can be a little shaky. I think we've seen this season. And Miller, I mean, he's good, but I don't think he'd be I think he's like the 5th starter. But for me, I definitely think Gilbert.
For sure.
Wu, for sure. Yeah, Kirby. Wu's just been such a great surprise. Not surprise, but I mean, it's just he is so dominant this year. He's been such a great pitcher. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, Wu has definitely deserved that spot. I guess and I feel like Logan Gilbert's fine as well to go. My George Kirby, even though he had this great outing, my George Kirby and Mike Castillo is kind of a toss-up. But I also feel like mentally, Luis Castillo can handle it better out there, like when things go awry. I feel like, though, Castillo could, on a regular basis, kind of hand you the game like he handed you the other day, but he also can, give up that home run if there's a couple of guys on and it's different. But if Kirby's on one, he's unhittable.
Yep.
But it seems like when
he does
things
get
don't go,
emotional. Yeah, right. He does get emotional. I think if he doesn't get calls too, you'll see him kind of get super frustrated. Might take him off the game. So I could see that from a mental standpoint. But even when Castillo's getting knocked around, or if he's not pitching too well, he's still pretty locked in, regardless of the scenario.
For sure. I also want to say I think Luis Castillo could maybe mentally handle coming out of the bullpen or making a spot start, because you get deeper in the playoffs, you're going to have your 4 starters. But as far as this first series, if you can get through a first series, let's just say you're in the playoffs and you make the playoffs and you go 3 games, you're in a good spot if you have Castillo going game 1 in the next round. I also feel like the leashes will definitely be shorter, and I think that's why Bryce Miller, I think he's the guy that's definitely going to be that position that maybe Hancock has. It'll be interesting to see if Hancock stays on the roster. And of course, Luis Castillo would probably be your de facto guy if anything were to go awry, or let's just say the pitch counts are really high because you are going for swing and miss. Maybe there's a lot of 3-2. You're going against, the league's best hitters that have carried their team there. So I feel like the Mariners are in a great spot, but it does seem like that's what they seem to be setting up. Because if you have these 3 in Houston, I feel like this would be your 3 going into the playoffs, because that's a playoff series.
Yeah, you got to approach it like it's a playoff series for sure. Yeah, so good to see how this turns out, and then be ready for that time if and when we get to the playoffs. Like I hope, like I said, 96%, but I think these are 3 guys I go with.
Yeah. As far as the bullpen too, I think you are seeing it. It's Aspire, Brash, Munoz. Your plan B, or if you need an extra inning in there, you're Bizardo. Caleb Ferguson, that's going to be a matchup person. I feel like more than, I feel like he's a guy that might only see 3 or 4 hitters, but and then from there, I just don't really know what you do with that back end. I guess if you're going to be sending Miller and you're going to be sending Castillo out there, does that mean you bring another offensive player? I don't really understand how that. I'd have to look up how that roster works for the playoffs really quick. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, who if say that we're able to bring up another bat, who do we bring up? I almost feel like we want.
It says here, first of all, to answer that question, to help answer that question, an MLB playoff roster consists of 26 active. So you go back down to the 26, which means you're going to lose 2 players from the expanded roster right now. And I would assume you would lose Harry Ford because he doesn't serve much of a purpose in the playoff series. You have Garver as your backup catcher. And you would definitely probably lose one of the relief pitchers from the bullpen, and then that would probably be what happens there. I was actually surprised we never did see Ben Williamson come up just for defensive reasons.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see him. I was actually thinking about that. Just with Gino not playing so well, like he you bring him up to relieve Gino, but put him in DH. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
He's been
we've kind of talked. Yeah, we've kind of talked about that where you could give Gino a day off, but you also want him right now on this push. So I don't know if we're already too past that, where you give him a day off or you let him DH a day, because Polanco can play second base now. So you can still keep Polanco's bat in the lineup. You're starting to see less Cole Young, and I think we're all okay with that right now. Like Hansen said last episode, it's not about the money. It's not about the draft position. It's not about the investment right now. It's just about what's working. And I feel safe with Leo Rivas in there if Polanco's not playing second base in the lineup. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I am too. I mean, I think we've seen Young hasn't really had the best time at the plate, right? So Rivas is a good second baseman when Jorge is not playing second base. I don't. So I'm okay with that too.
I'm completely fine with it. I think I've said, like, look, Cole Young's we've got to see that there's a lot of potential there. The ceiling is high. Right now, it seems like for what the Mariners need in that spot, and that's just on base percentage and great defense and flexible defense. You're getting that from Louis Rivas. He kind of reminds me of an element that the Mariners traded away, and they traded away from Luke Raley, and that's Jose Caballero, that the Mariners just had playing great for the Yankees. But you're kind of getting that back a bit with less power, but you are getting somebody that's going to steal bases, somebody that's going to get on, not an agitator like Caballero was, but he does bring that spark. He's also great off the bench too. So is that a vibe you want to have too, where maybe he's better served to come in later in the game? He's a switch hitter. He gives you more flexibility in a matchup. That's for sure. Because he can go left, he can go right, where if you start him and you take him out of the game, then you're kind of losing that tool later in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see where we go when it comes to the playoffs. Like, what do you think? Like, what's the ultimate lineup? Say we make the playoffs, what would be your ultimate lineup, like 1 through 9?
Game 7, it's all on the line.
Yeah.
Type of situation. One game on the line. Left field, Randy Rosarena in the leadoff spot. Number 2, Cal Raleigh at the catcher position. Number 3, Julio. Number 4, Polanco at second base. Followed by Josh Naylor at first base. The 5 slot. In the 6 slot, Eugenio Suarez. DH, Dominic Canzone. At shortstop, JP Crawford, and followed by Victor Robles. Because I actually do like Victor Robles 9. I do like that rollover to him and Randy. It's almost like, I don't know, maybe it's 2 crazy guys back to back. I don't know. We got to spread it out, but
yeah,
I think that's my line. I think it's the main guys, and then I think you just put Polanco at second because he can play second, and then you DH Canzone because he's got the ability to, dive into that power. And you haven't seen that power from Luke Riley. I don't think he's full on healthy. Mitch Garver, all right, sure, he just had his moment right now, but we're talking one game. If it's a lefty, maybe I'm going with him, and then if they switch later in the game, I'm bringing Canzone in off the bench. I don't think you're playing Canzone in the outfield in the playoffs. I feel like defensively, you got to have your best players out there, especially if you're playing low scoring games when pitching takes over.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think I was just like thinking about, mid-season or so, I think we were talking even like we're starting with 6, 7, 8, 9, like it was just automatic outs. And like where we've come from there, it's like it's crazy to think about that, right? Like we have such a dominant offensive
Yeah.
lineup now. That's like everything that we've hoped for is kind of came together, which was nice. Right, the moves were done, and so it's refreshing as a fan to see that.
Oh yeah, when we were in first place, the last time we were in first place, if you looked at that team, there was still that big hole at the end of the lineup. You're right, where you're like, oh God, I can't wait till the other guys get up there. We're now with this lineup. I feel confident 1 through 9 that something can happen. I'll even take it further, 1 through like 11. Because I do feel like Louis Rivas can get something going for you. I do feel like Luke Rayleigh can make something happen. And this time of year, it, like I said, the Bucky fucking dents come out of the woodwork where these unlikely heroes become heroes.
That's right. I have a small space for Young, right? So I mean, maybe he's the guy that all of a sudden starts popping, comes in, or he gets a little slot and he starts hitting, and where he hadn't been doing so well, and then all of a sudden now he's going to start hitting for us. I don't know. It's just there's hope. Hopefully that takes place.
I think they're committed to him, or else they would have brought up Ben Williamson and tried to do something with a rotation on the other side of the diamond. Ben Williamson's defense is definitely missed. I will say that.
Yeah. Well, I think there's probably plans for Ryan Bliss, right? Like he was on the recovery. He was doing the Raiders rehab starts, and then he tears his meniscus. And so I think that probably had some impact there. So I think we could have used Bliss in the lineup, his speed and his bat, and even his defense, I suppose. So he probably Rivas probably took his spot where they thought that Bliss would have been there.
Yeah, I feel like Louis Rivas has. We've said this before. When he got sent down in the minors, sure he had like a slump that was going on, but overall, I think he still had like close to like 400 on base or something crazy like that. And he comes back up, and you look up at the scoreboard, and he's like hitting like 277, and I just immediately was like, we sent down a 277 hitter. What the hell, But he went down there and he did his thing. I think he got 10 home runs. I think he accumulated 10 home runs down there. And you've already seen this new set of power from him. 2 home runs in a week. Got his first one. I'm in Tampa at the spring training facility. I'm so happy he got like a real major league home run, because I was going to say that's exciting. Obviously hitting a major league home run in a game, but then having that yeah, it was in this stadium and in a game that we were just getting, I think, just destroyed, where the mojo was low. And then he gets this home run in an extra inning game where the only reason he's up to bat is because the Mariners could not cash in when they substituted out a red hot Polanco, and he takes care of this 2-run home run. I was listening to Dave Valley on the call, and he was like, if you can remember back in 1995, and if you're young or you weren't watching back then, the Mariners in 95, besides the big names that, had these big games from guys like Doug Strange hit, I think, like a game winner. But yeah, you think back to like that run where there was huge game winning home runs, and you need that. And the Mariners are getting it. And Louis Rivas is part of this revamp right now of what the team is doing, and I don't think you fuck with it one bit. I don't think the Etsy witch would want you to fuck with it one bit.
Not at all. Yeah. Keep it riding. Keep what we're doing. Super fun.
Got your text here. As far as the rest of this week, it's going to be, as far as podcasting, we'll be back during the Royals series or after the Royals series. And then, of course, following Sunday Night Baseball, this is the Mariners, probably, I'm assuming, unless something crazy happens, I think this is it. This is the last Sunday Night Baseball game on ESPN for the Seattle Mariners. In recent years, until like recently, the Mariners were awfully light on Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. I know Hansen said good riddance, I think, to them. Or maybe that was Vlad. What's your feeling about ESPN Baseball Tonight not being on anymore?
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like the Apple TV thing, right? Like I like our guys, and I understand national broadcast, but yeah, um, I don't think we get enough. And it's the whole East Coast bias thing, right? So I think I'm probably the same. Like good riddance. See you later. We don't need them.
Yeah, they're like this. I guess I agree with you guys that way, and they have over the years. It's like it used to be Baseball Tonight, and it's like it's on once a week, but still called Baseball Tonight. So that didn't make any sense. But I try to remember the glory days of Baseball Tonight. It used to be a huge thing when there was the big channels and the cable channels, but now with the streaming and stuff like that, nobody knows where to go get a game if it's not on the broadcast. But yes, I'm so happy we don't have to do the Chinese fire drill all the time about like with my grandma trying to watch the games. But
Yeah.
she thinks she's out of the woodwork. Everybody thinks they're out of the woodwork because they're leaving Apple TV. It's like, no, they're just moving. Baseball's going over to another streaming site. So we're going to have to do a whole nother login thing.
Yeah.
But
Like
yeah,
Roku,
Apple
right?
TV.
Down in LA, you had to figure out Roku for the LA.
Yeah,
game.
exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. You got to figure out Roku. As far as the playoffs, it's great because it's back to the basics for the most part. I believe, Amazon's always sticking their nose into things, but I don't know if they're here with the baseball, but I believe they're still going back to Fox.
Yeah, is that or TNT, right? Because I think one thing that hit me was when I was making the move from Seattle to here, and it was during the playoffs. I was moving away from Xfinity at the time, and so I was using Fubo, but Fubo didn't have TNT, so then I couldn't watch the playoffs during the playoffs run. And so I think depending on where the games are being broadcast, I think it also impacts like what streaming service you have.
Yeah, and I don't know how they can't take all these streaming services and charge them for racketeering, because it's always suspicious to me that each one of them only doesn't have one thing, so the other person's got to. You got to go to the other. You have to get the other one to get this thing, and it sucks. I know that won't hold any water, but sometimes I feel like it's a conspiracy. But real quick, just look at the playoff picture going into this week before we get out of here. Right now, you're sitting at the 3 slot. You would be hosting the Houston Astros this week, or if the playoffs started right now, and the winner would go into Detroit. And down on the other side of the bracket, you have the Yankees and the Red Sox with the Blue Jays waiting for you. We don't need to focus on NL right now. And I don't think they reseed. I think it's just this is the way it goes.
I see.
In the brackets.
And is the first game a 3-game series or a 5-game series?
First game is a 3-game series, then it moves to a 5-game series, then a 7-game series.
3, 5, 7.
I feel like the second round I feel like it should just go right to 7, but
yeah,
there's just something about a 7-game series that I really enjoy. It's what it is that the season can continue, but it is what it is. Hopefully the Mariners will be watching that, can catch the Detroit Tigers. A little bit of house clean before we get out here. When the Mariners get back in town, or if you're going to see the Savannah Bananas, make sure to buy Pioneers, Tacos, and Tequila for your pregame festivities, libations, located at 1021 Occidental Avenue South. Sorry, my teleprompter thing on the bottom of the screen got screwed up. I should just know this anyways. Get your merch, though, the rye bread and mustard merch. If you want that street cred for rocking the rye bread, go over to Etsy. When you're setting a spell, see, CJ's got one right there. Beautiful. That's a 101, I think, too. But it could be 2 of 2 if you like it. My sister can make anything. That's right. My sister makes the actual show stuff. That's at Simply on Etsy, or hit her up on Instagram. And listen, if you're running late and you got to grab a dog to take into the stadium, smuggle that thing in, head on over to Al's Sausages. Usually they got 2 spots on the Occidental Strip right there. Best hot dogs around on the street. Go over to Al's. And listen, if you want other apparel, you want the dumper shirts, you want any of the Mariners stuff, the hot dogs from heaven. I know you got that one, CJ. You got that at In the Clutch apparel, intheclutch.com. Promo code, as it says right there, rye bread and mustard, all one word. Save yourself some money. CJ wishes he had that code before he got his first shirt.
Right. That's right. It's all right. I supported the cause. It's good.
He's lost sleep over it, let me tell you. Well, anyways, with that being said, CJ, you know what time it is. Excellent. Charge.